Alright guys, so just to review yesterday, y'all should have on the ends of your desk these purple books, right? Y'all see these purple books? So if you weren't here yesterday, you absolutely need one of these purple books. Alright? So let's get those real quick. So in this purple book, on page 6, that's where your culminating task prompt is. We talked about this yesterday. Can somebody who was here tell me what the culminating task is all about? What's a culminating task?
Writing a story from a different point of view. Oh wait, no, we're talking about the culminating task, not the prompt.
Okay, yeah. So what does culminating mean?
Putting together.
Yeah, it's putting everything that we've learned so far together, right? So the actual prompt, I'm going to read you a part of it. It says, write a narrative essay in which you retell a key episode from Life of Pi from another point of view. So what is a narrative? Do y'all remember?
Story.
A story. Okay, so how about Makari? What's a key episode?
An important story.
An important part of the story, right? Yes. So we talked about like in anime, if you're watching Naruto, then any of the episodes where like Naruto and Sasuke fight, that's a key episode, right? They do kiss at one point, yes, that's true. That would be a key episode too, right? It's building their relationship. So it's the important parts of the story that build what their relationship is like, all right? That they're like as close as brothers, that they're like truly family to one another, sort of thing, okay? So our key episodes in Life of Pi, we brainstormed a bunch of them yesterday as a class. I did that in every other class too. So what I've done over here is I've written all of the most popular ones with their chapters, okay? So you just have to pick one of these to rewrite, all right? But the twist of this prompt is that you have to write it from a different point of view. So what is point of view? Taisha, do you remember what point of view is? Okay, so where something takes place, that would be setting. But point of view would be more like perspective. So Tia, what's that?
The way you look at it.
So how it's perceived. Yes, how it's perceived. First person, second person, third person. Great job, Makari. So it's who's telling the story, right? The point of view is who's telling the story. So if off of this key episodes list, you pick orange juice versus the hyena, from where orange juice and the hyena fight, right? You can choose any character who was in the boat in Life of Pi at that time to write from their point of view. Whose point of view can we not write from for our story? Pi. Why?
Because he's the main narrator of the story.
Yes, he already tells the story, right? The book does that. So we need to do something different from the book, okay? So all we did yesterday, we went over this prompt in detail, right? And you all picked the key episode you were going to focus on and the point of view you were going to do it from. So if you weren't here yesterday, that's what you need. But what's great is what we're starting with today opens up with the same thing, all right? So look at the flow chart that you have in front of you. You should already have it. I'll see it with the boxes. It's got one big box, 3 little boxes, and a bunch of lines underneath. Okay, we're going to plan our writing with this. It's called a flow chart. That's what we called it growing up. But it's also known as a sequence thinking map. Does anyone know what the word sequence means?
In order.
In order. Tia looks at me like, of course I know. I have a great vocabulary. In order. To sequence something means to put it in order, okay? So all we're going to do is try to put the events of your story that you're going to tell into the correct order, okay? So at the top, in that box, it says big event. See that? Big event. Who am I going to get? Dylan, can you read where it says by a big event, the 2 questions?
What key episodes are the rewriting? From what point of view?
What key episode are you rewriting? From what point of view? That sounds familiar, right? Your key episode and your point of view. That's what goes in that box. Just those 2 things. Okay? Yes.
Wait, but on one of the key episodes, was them not you know when they found the little island? Would that not be considered a key episode?
Absolutely. It's up there. The island, it's in chapter 92. I put chapters because finding page numbers, y'all are going to zero in on different parts of your story. Okay? So some people, if they did the island, they might do arriving to the island. But some people might do, like, finding the fruit on the island. but that would be a hard one to do from a different point of view, you know? So you're going to zero in on a certain part of your narrative in order to tell the story better. Does that make sense? I know I have some good story writers in this class. Like, this is probably my class that loves narratives the best. Okay? I'm so serious. Like, this class does. So I think that I'm going to see some really cool ones out of here. But in that box, all you need is your key episode and the point of view. So I'm going to put 5 minutes up here. I want you to put your answers to that question in the big box at the top of the flowchart page. Okay? So I'm putting 5 minutes on. I'm going to come around and make sure you've got it going on. Once you have your scene and your point of view written in that box, I want you to go ahead and find your page numbers. So the chapters are written over here on the board, like I said. Tiger eats the goat. Chapter 8. So look in your books, look by chapter, find out where the page numbers are. That way you know where you're looking for this story. Okay? Make sure you remember the big pieces of your story. Alright? This shouldn't take you long. I'm going to put a little time up here for you. So there's our timer. On your flowchart, you filled in your first box, right? Now you know where you're looking. You should see 3 boxes underneath the big one. See it? It says part 1, part 2, part 3. Yeah? Part 1, part 2, part 3. You're going to take your big event, and you're going to break it down into 3 smaller ones. So we read a model essay yesterday that was the sinking of the ship from Richard Parker's point of view. I know a lot of you weren't here, so I'll put that on Google Classroom for you. Okay? But we read it, the sinking of the ship from Richard Parker's point of view. Okay? So it happened in 3 parts in the essay. I don't know if y'all caught that as we were reading. But part 1 is that Richard Parker gets out of his cage, right? Part 2 is Richard Parker abandons ship. Right? He jumps over the wall expecting there to be land, but instead there's just water. Yeah? Part 3 is when he makes it to the lifeboat. He's talking about the small, annoying human, Pi, yelling. Okay? Right, who's a fool for jumping into the water. Okay? So those are the parts of that big event. That big event would be the ship sinks, Richard Parker's point of view. Right? So take your big event and let's find 3 pieces of it. That's what we're going to break down into those boxes. This takes a little bit longer, all right? So I'm going to put 12 minutes up here. We should be able to get through it in 12 minutes, okay? So take your big event, break it down into 3 pieces. Referencing the book might help you. So what's going on the ship or behind him? What is he experiencing? I need 3 pieces. How do you get it? We don't know anything, right? You're making this up. Yeah, make it up. This part has to be that the hyena gets to the lifeboat, right?
Gets to the lifeboat?
Yeah. So he's in the lifeboat, right? Before Connor gets there, he's in the lifeboat. I got 3 of them. Yeah? Okay. So he gets to the lifeboat. That's right here. This part, he's got to get out of the cage, right? And then you got to make up something that happens in the middle here. Yeah. So you can all of that from the tiger's point of view, right? So put yourself into that sort of predator mindset. Like he's not feeling any feelings, he's just hungry. Unless you want to say that maybe he feels that after the kid. Yeah?
I did.
You did do it. I'm proud. Yes. Okay, so then what? He wants to leave, right? He's like, this island is crazy. Whack. I don't want my feet burned, right? So he's going to wait for Pi to figure it out, too. Okay, what happens in the middle of that? Yeah. You get to just make up the story.
I thought it could go back like the woods.
Well, you know, from the book, we know that they were in cages, right? And then we know that it gets to the lifeboat. But you don't know what happens in the middle, so you get to use your imagination for that part, right? Okay. All right, so you have your 3 boxes. I'm pretty sure all of you have at least 1 box right now. Most of you have all 3, okay? So the next part, y'all see the little lines underneath the box? You see the 3 lines underneath the boxes? Yeah? Okay, on those 3 lines, I want you to think about, Josh, you hear me? On those 3 lines, think about the thoughts and feelings, the actions, and the dialogue that your character, the point of view that you're writing from, would be thinking, feeling, saying, and doing in that scene. Okay? So in your box, if I had over here, Richard Parker gets out of the cage, right? First he's going to realize the ship is sinking, yeah, or that something's wrong. Then he's going to get really freaked out, and then some human is going to come have to help him get out, right? Yeah. So those would be little details I would write. Or maybe I'd give myself some like descriptive words of how he's feeling. So on these 3 lines, you just need to give yourself some little motivators for what you're going to write about in that part. Okay? Little bullet points of the details that you've got to include. Alright?
My feet, no.
So what is your character thinking, feeling, doing, smelling, seeing, hearing, any of the sensory stuff, right? What are they saying if they're talking to someone else in that moment? Those would be a few things. Yeah? Think through what are they thinking. You're going to have to put yourself in the animal's head. A lot of you are writing from an animal's perspective, right? So they're not going to know some of the words for things. They're not going to understand some of the things that are going on around them. Okay, so Tyron, come up with something fun, right? It's your story. What's he got to do to get to the boat? Yes, this is really good. Just some details that are going on. I know you're going to write like some of his thoughts and feelings on how you're writing.
Yeah. So I just figured this is not like.
Yep, exactly.
What I need.
That's the whole point of this, is to give you a plan, right? So normally we would do an outline, but because this is a narrative, I think this sequence is way easier for y'all. You'll see when you get to tomorrow, having something like this will actually help you. Okay? As you finish up, I would really, really like for you to swap with someone near you and see if they can make sense of your story. Alright, that's your exit ticket. We don't have like a formal written exit ticket today. Instead, I want you to swap with someone near you and make sure that their story seems logical and that they can make sense of your story. Okay? Okay. Alright, let me have your attention real quick. This is due, completed, at the start of class tomorrow for a grade, okay? Because we are going to start drafting your essay tomorrow. So you need this in order to have your plan for drafting your essay, okay? So we're actually writing in class tomorrow. You're going to do your whole first draft in class tomorrow, okay? Awesome.